I'm going to be showing you how to create different shapes using the pencil tool, the different shape tools, and as well as the curved lines. So in this video, I'm just going to be showing you how to make two-dimensional shapes, and in my next video, I'll show you how to make them three-dimensional. So let's start with the pencil tool. So it can also be called the line tool. I call it the pencil tool because it looks like a pencil. But it's technically called the line tool. So you can press L on your keyboard, or you can select this one. It's 4 buttons down. There's also, if you click on it, an option to do a freehand drawing, but I rarely use that one. I will demonstrate it in a moment. So for the line tool, you can essentially click, let go, and drag your mouse in whichever way you want, and click again to create different shapes. This is really great if you're trying to create some sort of organic shape. Remember that you can only create straight lines with it. And it does not create a full shape, so it does not close the shape off. They are still individual line segments. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. I'm just going to click and delete some of these. The freehand tool is obviously like it says. It creates sort of these different lines. I don't use this very often, but you can see, depending on which way you are positioned in your orbit on the plane, it can make it standing up straight on the z-axis, or it might be flat on the ground. Alright, so moving on to the shapes tool. So down here at the bottom, if you click on it, you have all these different options. So you have the rectangle tool, which you can press R on your keyboard to activate. You also have a rotated rectangle, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. We have a circle tool, a polygon, as well as 3D text. So we're going to go over all of these. So the rectangle tool, again, depending on which way you are positioned. So right now I'm looking down at the ground, and you can see it's blue, and it creates a shape on that plane. If I rotate this way, right now you can see the rectangle is red, so now it is floating in the air. Think of the square as being like, or these shapes as being like a piece of paper. So they're very thin. You wouldn't make walls in a house out of this, but I will show you in the next video how to make them three-dimensional. Again, if I do it this way, now it's in that direction. You can also overlap shapes, and I can show you in a minute how to sort of erase these to create a new shape. Again, I just want to reiterate that when you do this, it's a two-click motion. So I'm clicking once and letting go of my mouse, and then I am dragging this over. Now, one thing, if you want very specific dimensions or measurements, you can click once and let go of your mouse. I've just moved it over. So it still has not been stuck or decided what size this is going to be. And you can see when I move it, in the bottom right-hand corner over here, you can see how the size changes. So right now it's at about 32 feet by 18 feet. So if I want to put in a specific measurement, all I have to do is click once, let go of my mouse, and then go to my keyboard and type in what I want. So I'm going to put in 18 single apostrophe, so that's for feet. If you want inches, you need to do shift apostrophe to get the double apostrophe. But I'm just going to do 18 feet, and then you're going to do comma 10 feet or whatever other measurement you want to do. and then press Enter on your keyboard. And you'll see it will snap to that specific size. Now I haven't gone over the measurement tool yet, but the tape measure here can confirm, clicking from one point to the other, that that is indeed 18 feet and that this is 10 feet. You can do this with any of the other shapes. You can also do this with the line tool as well. So I could click once, let go in the direction that I want it to go, either at a diagonal or a straight line, and I can type in 24 apostrophe for 24 feet. So this is going to be really helpful when you're making your building, because you will need things to be a certain size in terms of how tall the ceiling is or how big a room is, because it's really hard to tell on SketchUp how big you're making something. Because right now, this square right here, it doesn't look very big. However, if I were to measure it, in reality, it's actually quite big. It's 40 feet by 39 feet. And that's why we have these small people here to help you with the scale. But it's really good to get in the habit of typing your measurements in rather than just doing it freehand. The next is, I'm actually going to delete some of this. The next is the circle tool, or actually, sorry, we're going to do the rotated rectangle. So I'm clicking once, clicking again. So this allows you to make rectangles at different angles. So essentially I'm clicking once and then I'm dragging. I can also orbit in a different area and then put this in whatever direction I want. So maybe I'll do it back this way. So this way it doesn't necessarily lay flat on one plane, it's at a different angle. So I'll do that one more time. Do it over here. So I'm going to click once on the blue plane and then I'm going to orbit up, and then I can drag it either towards me or away. Alright, and now the circle tool is right underneath that. So the way the circle tool works is it starts out at the radius at the center, and then it drags it out. So you're going to click once at the center and then drag it out to the size you want. Same thing as the rectangle. If you decide, you can orbit this way and you can create a circle on this plane or on this plane. And remember, these are flat objects, so if we look at it actually from this angle, it looks like a straight line. That is because it's two-dimensional. And also, same as the rectangle, you can click once, let go of your mouse, and then type in the radius that you would like. So remember that the radius is the distance from the center point to the outside. So it is not all the way across. So if I type in 10 apostrophe for 10 feet, you can now measure it. From here to the center is 10 feet. Here all the way across should be 20 feet. Because remember that your radius is only half the size of your circle. So now the last thing I'm going to show you is the 3D text. So right here with the A is your 3D text. You can type in whatever you want. And you can choose between a few different fonts, whether or not you want it bold or regular. And then you can choose whether or not it's going to be extruded, so meaning that it has more, it's three-dimensional, and whether or not the text is filled in. And you can also choose the height. So if I choose OK, it's actually quite small right now, so I'm going to zoom in. And if I click once, it's actually quite small, so I'm going to zoom in. There we go. So you can see the height here is 6 inches. And it's about 4 feet wide. Now if you want to resize this, you can scale it, and you can scale it uniform, you can make it flatter, like so, or if you wanted to, you can make it really tall. And that is 3D text. So those are just a basic introduction to creating 2D shapes, and on my next video I will show you how to make them 3-dimensional.